So here's what we got from that interview on Pep Guardiola's future, that there is a conversation to be had with the chairman. That is the person he will speak to first. He didn't say whether or not he's already had that conversation, but he said that needs to be had. He's got just over a year left on his contract. And that there is a decision to be made, Micah. If the decision is that he's going to be leaving City, would you hope that he would make that announcement, the club would make that announcement before that game against Aston Villa on Sunday?
Yeah, so he could have a proper send-off. But in terms of the interview there, you could see in his demeanour that he's leaving. I just...
In what way?
The way he was answering the questions. So I've studied Pep for a while, and when he wants to stay, he would just say, no, I'm staying. The fact that he's talking about he's going to have a conversation with the chairman, he's going to have a conversation with his family, says to me that he's leaving. And it's a sad day for the Premier League, for everyone connected to Manchester City, because he's been an absolute great. And to see his team go out, like, I don't want to even use the word whimper, but go out with normally City, the whole ethos of City is fight to the end. Yes, they had 3 games in 6 days, but they didn't fight to the end today. Yes, Haaland got his goal, but he was expecting a little bit more, especially with the players that they had on show tonight. And I just feel like the fans know as well, even with all the talk yesterday, today, it just feels like one of those moments where he's going to be leaving. And I'm absolutely gutted. I'm absolutely gutted because what he's done for this club has been nothing short of sensational.
It's been 10 beautiful years, isn't it?
It has been,
beautiful
yeah.
years, you know, in terms of like the marriage with the club, the manager, the way he walked in with the confidence. It's just been amazing to watch, and how many times he's built teams when you think, oh, they've gone over the edge, you'll find another way. And it hasn't been the season they wanted, because Manchester City are set up to win Champions Leagues and Premier Leagues, but still won 2 trophies.
Yeah.
They've still won 2 trophies, the FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. It's still, you know, it's a great achievement in itself. Of course you want those big ones, but it's not to be this season. I have to agree with Micah. There's no smoke without fire. We know we've been in football an awful long time. And I do think he's been very transparent in the past. When there's been rumours about him, he would normally say, no, I'm staying. And there's too much talk about Enzo Maresca. There's just too much coming out of the rumour mill that is football. So I will be surprised if he stays now. Are we going to miss him? Absolutely. But who knows what he'll do next? And to be honest, he's had a long time, and it's intense. The fact that he's even stayed 10 years in this day and age in football, when managers, I think it's about a 2-year cycle, he's done 10 at the top. Tells you everything about his resilience and just brilliance, if you like. So what happens next, we will see. But I tend to agree with you,
It's
Mike.
a sad day. It's a sad day, isn't it?
But it's been a great day. But I think also now we've got to go, OK, celebrate what he's achieved, because he's dominated football for so long.
So 10 years, 20 major trophies. If we include Community Shields as major trophies, but there's a handful of those as well. But within that, there are the big ones. There are 6 Premier League trophies. There's a Champions League. He's the first manager in the English top division trophy history to win it 4 times in a row. He won a treble. He's managed the most games against Manchester City, which the longevity of it is an achievement in itself. And there has been consistent success throughout that. I think this is the first 2 seasons when he's been a manager where he hasn't won a trophy. He's usually, if he's missed one, he's won it the next season. Then they've come so close this time around. At the moment, it's only 4 points between themselves and Arsenal. They've run them all the way to the penultimate game of the season. Is there a case, and I appreciate we're taking someone like Sir Alex Ferguson into there, and it's difficult to compare managers of different eras. Is he in that bracket of the greatest ever Premier League managers? Is it fairer, do you think, to ask if he's the greatest manager of his generation? Yeah,
he's the greatest manager of his generation, without doubt. And I say that because of the way he plays football. And there's certain ways that you can win a football match. Arteta and Arsenal have done it a little bit more defensively, and good luck to them. But in terms of his 10-year tenure at Manchester City, if it's fullbacks inverted, if it's the false 9, if it's playing John Stones in the Champions League final in central midfield, he's just created a way to love the game and the game to be played in the right way.
He's changed football.
Correct.
I think the greatest accolade you can give him is he has changed football. When you watch grassroots now, you see people playing out from the back.
And it's one of his assistants who has won the Premier League title this season. There is a real changing of the guard and real joy at the Arsenal training ground where the players gathered to watch the game together.
Oh, wow.
And this was the scene at the end. These are really special moments, Micah. When you're together with your teammates, you've put all that work in. You have ground out some of those results. You've pushed yourself to the absolute limits. You've been accused over previous seasons of bottling it.
Correct.
And then you get this moment.
Yeah, for Arsenal, it's absolutely outstanding. And, when they played Man City and lost, and everyone was talking about the bottle. And remember, we was on the show, and I said they've not bottled it, they've just opened up the door. And this time, they didn't even have to go to the final game of the season and win. Man City opened the door then for Arsenal. But for all that I've been through, I told you the story about when we was up against Manchester United at the time, Sir Alex Ferguson's great teams, and that belief and can you get it over the line? They've got over the line, and they deserve 38 games in the Premier League. You deserve to win it. Yes, the football's not been pretty at times, we all know that. But to do that consistently over a season, you've got to take your hats off him. And especially when you're up against Pep Guardiola, one of the greatest of his generation as well. So congratulations.
And they flipped the pressure back onto Manchester City. So they've shown they've got unbelievable character. And I think to even level that, they've been bottlers. They haven't been. They were just against one of the most incredible teams in Manchester City that were just relentless. They just stretched them and they made them become better. And they've had to find a way. They've had to maybe get those marginal games that you need to do, set pieces, goalkeeper, everything that he's done, Mikel Arteta, to find a way to turn his team into title winners. And you have to credit the Cronkies as well, because they could have maybe just gone under the pressure at times of maybe feeling like it wasn't the right thing. Is he going to be the winner? He's proved tonight that Mikel Arteta is a winner.
Talk to me a little bit about those set pieces, because it's one thing to look at Arsenal's style of play from a neutral point of view and to maybe be critical of it at times as a little bit safe. It's another thing to be in the Emirates as an Arsenal fan, knowing that your team hasn't won it in 22 years and watching them get those wins, watching them get that 1-0, having those nervous moments, watching their team get over it and feeling the energy and the tension release in that stadium. It might not have been pretty, but it's been enjoyable for those Arsenal fans who are emotionally invested. And does anything else matter?
No, not really.
It doesn't have to be pretty, does he?
No, not really. I'd have loved to have won a few titles playing really ugly.
Yeah.
I've got to be honest, I know how they felt when they didn't win titles because of the pressure. And it's very easy because we all turn around and fans and ex-players maybe say, they couldn't handle it. The pressure was too much. They bottled it. Mm-hmm. But do you know what? Pressure does strange things to people. But this year, they managed to keep themselves together. And City just crumbled at the wrong time, and Arsenal took advantage of it. And I think you have to give them full credit. Micah knows you've won a title. You know how difficult that is to do.
Yeah, I think you got to give praise to Arteta, because when he was at Manchester City and under Pep, you play a certain way. Maresca's similar when he was under Pep. And for the first, I would say 2 seasons under Arteta, they was playing attacking football, and they tried to play that way and they couldn't get over the line. So they had to change the way, and James is exactly right, the marginal games, whether that is set pieces, whether that's having the best defence in the league. David Raya saved them this season. He's my player of the year because I think in the big moments he stood out and can be counted for. But in terms of the manager, and yes, it's not pretty. It's not pretty at times, but you've got to find a way to win. And he's found a way to win. Maybe now he can take the handbrake off a little bit, because pressure, you said pressure, it does things to players and the manager. Now he can be maybe a bit more expansive. But he's got over the line, and that is the most important thing.
No one's going to look back at this season a couple of years and go, Arsenal, they didn't play that well that year. There's no pitches on the scorecard. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
They're winners. They're champions. You know, and that's how it works, you know, and I think that they've just got to enjoy it tonight. They're going to absolutely love it at Selhurst Park. I'm sure as many Arsenal fans will be trying to get tickets there, and they'll have obviously the parade. But now they've got an amazing chance to create history and go and win the Champions League off the back of it. I mean, how lucky are they right now? What a beautiful moment for the club.
What do you think that Mikel Arteta has learned from his time working with Pep Guardiola? And as Micah said, there has been an evolution into his own style at Arsenal, remembering that this was his first proper job as a number one. So if we look at the evolution, but first look at the influence that that Pep Guardiola had on Mikel Arteta?
If you didn't know, if someone said to you, Mikel Arteta's worked with a manager in the past, who do you think it's been? You'd edge more to Mourinho. You wouldn't have said Pep Guardiola because they're totally different styles, you know, when you look at how they play. But that doesn't make it wrong, Kelly. There are people that sit at home that watch Manchester City and go, that bores me, that doesn't excite me. So you have to be very careful. And like Micah says, next year with Arsenal, now they've won one, why can't they? They've got young players coming. They've got Max Dowman, who's going to be a sensation for the next few years. Yeah. You know, Bukayo Saka, players like that.
Lewis
Skelly. And where he'll probably come back. You know, there's other young players in that academy that are going to get chances. So Gyökeres is divided opinion like no other. But he might have just been the difference. There's been a couple of really important goals that he scored that have helped get him across the line. Next year, he might be a better player than he has been this year. So, people will, because everyone wants to pick holes. That's what we do. We want to find ways to have a go at a club. They don't play exciting football, they're not expansive, the centre forward's not good, or they rely on their defence. So what? Who cares? They are the title winners. That's all that matters. And you know what it's like, Michael, when the first time you won it at City.
Well, you mentioned about the owners and keeping faith. I think that's the biggest thing, because a lot of clubs would have made the change. And it's
Is it because they saw progress? That was maybe not necessarily blindingly obvious, but that they could see what was happening behind the scenes?
Maybe, yeah, but I think if Arsenal would have come second this season, I think it would have been different. I think because of the fact that you can only trust someone so much for what they're giving you. But then the question would have been, Kelly, can he get over the line?
Yeah.
He's now shown that he can get over the line. No matter what anyone says to him, he's done his job. Yes, up until this point, I believe he's only won the FA Cup, but that was sort of... It wasn't
like
the team that he built, was it?
Yeah.
So now he has built a Premier League winning team and in the Champions League final. What more do you want for your manager? To Jamie's point, it was perfect, and you've got to give the owners credit for that, giving them the time.
And also now, I don't know how you feel about this, Micah, the PSG game is set up perfectly for them. Yeah. Now, nobody thinks, but people do think they can win it, obviously, but they'll be the big favourites, PSG. They're a beautiful side to watch. Arsenal know how to win games. They know how to defend. They know how to win an important moment. There's no reason why they can't do an unprecedented double and create history for themselves, because the pressure is right off them. Whether they play in that way remains to be seen. But they've got a great opportunity right now, and they're going to feel... Like, one thing you want to do now is just be in that room with those players. Can you imagine how you've been there, you know how they feel.
Well, I was having a few drinks that day.
and then the tiredness kicked in at some stage. But they'll be celebrating for now, and we saw how much those Arsenal players are enjoying it.